Mind Gap Podcast.
Welcome to Mind Back. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Doug, and I am nailing this every week.
And I'm Justin. And you would think, Doug, that you actually took a week off, but you didn't.
Mind Back.
Mind Back. God Past.
Whoa, God Past. That sounds like a really heavy podcast. Welcome to God Past.
Mind back, God Past.
Like, holy shit. God
or it
has
sounds
a past,
like it sounds like Disturbed
into it.
Right. It's Disturbed's fifth album.
Right.
It's called God Past.
It was God Past is what came before Godsmack, you know?
That's exactly. Yeah, that's it. There you go. No, actual question I wanted to start off with this week. Doug, if someone broke into your house, if a burglar broke into your house, what's one thing that they could steal that would cause you a minor inconvenience? Something that would drive you nuts, but it wouldn't be detrimental.
Ooh, that's a great question. Like, someone breaks into your house, what are you baking for them?
What do you make it? How do you make them feel welcome?
How do you make them feel welcome? A lasagna, you know?
Yeah.
Something I'd take that wouldn't. Oh, what would be really annoying?
Right.
Oh, that's a really good question. I feel like
while you're thinking of that, I'll give you mine to help you maybe think. Is my Apple TV remotes. Because I can access it via my phone. I can open the remote app and I can control it, but that means that I have to have my phone with me. It has to be charged. I can't control the volume. It would be, and then I have to go down to the mall. I got to buy a fucking new one. So it's a whole
mall.
Yeah, there's an Apple store at the mall.
Well, I can't imagine Justin going to the mall.
Oh, you should see me at the mall. Looks like I'm back in 8th grade again.
Oh no,
yeah,
baby.
I hate it.
That would be annoying, especially for me because Natalie doesn't have a phone. So, and she uses, the Apple TV. So we'd have to get one like ASAP.
Right, exactly.
Because that would be super obnoxious. For me, it'd be someone who took all the knobs off of my stove. They just pop them all off, and I'd be like, I can't cook.
That's such a good answer.
You're like, you assholes. It's like, we didn't steal your stove, but you can't cook. You have to...
Out of everything in this house.
And now I have to try and fucking find the right knobs that go along with this stove? Are you shitting me?
Oh,
that's
fun.
That would be awful. That'd be absolutely awful.
That's really good.
Yeah,
yep.
That would be terrible. That'd be a giant inconvenience.
I think, expounding on that, like doorknobs in general, too. Just any knob in your house would suck.
Yeah. Amen, brother. Now we're talking.
You know what I mean?
Now you're talking lucky, my language.
On your birthday.
Oh, no. I've got a knob here. What's going to happen to it?
What's going to happen to it? I hope no one breaks in.
Oh, no.
I've seen that as a category.
I'm sure McDonald's would like that I used their theme song for knob sucking.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm sucking it.
My knob!
Get it? It's just Danny DeVito pops up at the end. My knob!
My knob! Oh, man.
Stove knobs is a good one. I like that one, though.
Yeah, that came to me. I was like, fuck, I can't cook.
That's a real good one.
Oh, shit. Man. Well, we're back in visual this week. Thank you all for understanding. It didn't work out last week because I was heading out of town, and we were like, we want to get this out. The easiest way to do it is audio only. So to some people they're like, thank Christ, we don't have to look.
We don't
at
have
them
to
this
see
week.
them. Yeah,
give me a break from this guy and this fucking beard. Am I right? This thing is so out of control right now.
This is the thing that bugs the hell out of me. Doug won't tell me what this is all about.
So I'm growing this out for a Halloween thing, and I've been growing it out for over a month. I remember the exact day that I was like, all right, I'm trimming this. I'm just going to let it go for a month, and it's driving me fucking insane. I don't know how guys... It's because mostly it's
actually
the mustache.
Grow it out. Yeah.
It's the mustache, because this is hanging over my top lip. And
so you haven't even cleaned it up. This is just not. You have not touched your beard in a month.
No,
like hands off.
Hands off, and it's getting.
You've done the neck beard. You've done the near.
Yes, I've done. Yes. I've taken care of that, and I've taken care of my cheeks and stuff like that, and whatever. Right. But like I can just really tug on this shin hair right now. It's pretty wild. It's not about. I'm not gonna give any more. I was about to say something else. I'm not gonna say anymore.
Ooh, I almost got him.
You almost got me. I'm not gonna do it.
So when I grow mine out, the thing that bothers me is not so much above the lip; it's on the side of the lip.
Agreed.
Because I got the hairs that start to curl in, and then they start to. If you get an ingrown hair, like it's just something about the corner of the mouth is just. Yeah, it's fraught with peril.
It drives me. It just drives me mad because it's like. If it gets curled in, every time you move your mouth, there's something like poking into the corners of your mouth. Yeah, it drives me absolutely bonkers. I can't stand it. And then with the top part, it's like I'm trying to eat something. Like I'll have some yogurt, and it's just like, oh, do you want it in your mustache?
Oh, yogurt is no good because then you just get sour smell in there.
Right.
That's
or it's like I go on a walk and it's cold, and then just like the snot, of course, just naturally comes out, and then I come in, I'm like, it's just all in my mustache. It's the fucking worst. Or when it gets really cold, it fucking freezes because you're breathing and it's like, great, I have a frozen mustache, which is kind of uncomfortable. Then you go into a warm place and it melts and it feels like you're snotting all over yourself. You're like, oh no, it's just condensation that's now changed from a solid into a liquid all over the top of your lip.
Oh, No, that's just my wet upper lip. Don't worry about that.
That's right. Ladies.
You're welcome.
Ladies love a wet upper lip. That's what I read.
Yep.
That's what I read on someone's live journal.
You want me to get a wet upper lip? Steal my knobs,
right? Steal my knobs and make it suck. You know what I mean?
That's it. Yep.
Make it suck.
Make it. Ew. I don't like where this is going.
Make it suck. As the good Lord once said, "Make it suck."
Hashtag make it suck. That's what Jesus said.
That is what Jesus said. And don't you fucking forget it, you heathens.
That's in the brand New Testament.
That's in the branding guide of the Bible. What I love most about just talking with you in general is I don't know if it's just from 4 years of doing improv, I hear a word and I just do word association and it just happens. And most of the time with you, I say what my word association is and it always goes somewhere. I don't know if it's somewhere good, but you're like, it's part of the I'm like, branding guide, the Bible branding guide. These are the colors we use. This is the font we use. And this is our motto, make it suck,
One time, Jeff tried to change it all to Comic Sans, and we were having none of that.
It was papyrus for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Papyrus.
And then James Cameron swooped in, and he TM'd that thing.
Yeah, and then there was Kevin the intern who was like, wingdings, right? This is unique. Nobody ever uses this.
Guys, come on, think of the possibilities.
I mean, we want more mystery, right? We just can't tell him exactly what he wants. It's bad enough that it's written, been rewritten hundreds of times by white men in power, but also, like, let's put some more hieroglyphics in there,
Absolutely, yeah. Did you see how the word begat looks now? It's so cool.
Yeah, I begat last night, you know what I'm saying?
That's right, after your knobs got stolen.
That's right. Ha-cha-cha-cha. Ha-cha-cha-cha.
So, Doug.
Speaking of knobs.
Doug. You were in Las Vegas.
I was, gang. Last week.
I want to hear all about this.
I went on a work trip to good old Las Vegas. And the work
so he says.
Part of it was great. I enjoyed that element. I went to a conference. It was really great. It was fantastic. But as we alluded to last week, Las Vegas is not a Doug town. That's not the place that I'm like, oh, good. Perfect. This is exactly the place I want to be. If you've never been to Las Vegas, I would say this. I would say you should go at least once in your life.
Okay.
You should go. You should check it out. Because honestly, it is a marvel. It honestly is a marvel what they've built in the fucking desert.
I think that's the big thing, right? Like you're literally in the middle of nothingness for
it's
miles.
Like you can't miss it. There's nothing, there's desert, there's mountains, and then there's this fucking city in the middle of the desert.
Bright lights.
Yeah. And I'm not here, let me say this. I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. All right? That's a saying that was also a part of the branding guide in the Bible. And he saith unto you, don't yucketh anyone's yummy, Right?
Judas is like, yo, Jesus, I ain't here to yuck your yum, but I got a tattle on you a little bit.
I got a tattle on you, all right? You're not gonna like it, but you're gonna fucking die, all right?
Just expect a call from Pontius Pilate. That's all I'm saying.
He's coming to get you. He and his boys are gonna roll up here. It's gonna be a whole cross situation. But I fucking love you, right? I wouldn't do it if I didn't love you, all right?
I got your back, except for right now when I sold you out.
That's right, for 30 fucking silver, which I'm gonna take and go to the fucking casinos. Ding. Very religious place, Las Vegas.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen. Praise be. I don't want to shit on anyone's good time, right? Because for some people, Vegas is like, that's their Disney World, and whatever. And
absolutely,
that's their shit. And I'm not here to cast judgment on what anyone does for fun. You do you. I'm not here to fun shame or whatever. It's not my type of fun. It's not my type of place. I don't gamble. I don't drink. So right there, most of the shit's out the window. So primary thing being gambling. That's really what people come to Vegas to do.
That's literally you eliminated about half of what is in Vegas.
I'd probably say 3/4 with those two things. That math adds up. But yeah, it's like it's gone.
You almost got me on that.
Yeah,
I don't do math.
I don't do math, but you almost got me on that. That is the majority of what people do. There's booze and gamble.
Yep.
And I don't do either of those. So, and I'll, I want to start with the good things about this, because I do respect Vegas for a couple things. One, Las Vegas is unabashedly Las Vegas. Las Vegas knows what it is. It does not shy away from what it is. It leans into what it is, and it fucking tells you what it is. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, we know why you're here. We know what you're coming here for. You're coming here to fucking gamble. You're coming here to party. All right. And we are leaning into that.
Right.
Every aspect of it is like, come on in and fucking gamble. Stay up all night. We don't give a shit. Spend your money. Get boozed up. We've got these places called Fat Tuesdays, which really all it is to get a giant fucking thing of alcohol slushy. And you carry it around this strip. We don't fucking care, man. Get boozed up. Take the monorail, this automated monorail that tells you with really cool music. It's like, next stop, MGM Grand. Don't worry, you can bring your alcohol. Stay up late. It's all good. It's like they know what the do not disturb signs on the hotel rooms. Literally, like I almost took a picture of it. I should have. They say, was out all night partying. Please come back later. Like it knows what it is.
Right.
It's like
unapologetically, you're here to get fucked up.
Yeah. Come here and do that. And to that, I respect it, because there's authenticity in that. In that this is what we are. It's cool. Come hang out, do your thing. That's why we're here. I also respect the shit out of the fucking architecture here, man, for these casinos and things like that. It is absolutely awe-inspiring. It is mind-blowing what they've built. It is Disney level and beyond for what they do, for the different themes of these places. I took a picture of Excalibur because it's a big fucking castle.
Okay.
And I sent it to Natalie. I sent to Jill. I'm like, show this to Natalie. This is a huge fucking castle. It looks amazing. It's so fucking cool, right? And then you've got New York, that is just amazing, just design and everything like that. Fucking Caesar's Palace looks, all this Roman architecture. The Venetian looks like goddamn Venice. The Bridge of Sighs, gondolas, all sorts of shit. I mean, it's unbelievable, this sort of stuff that you see. And I mean, absolutely mind-boggling. The design on the outside, the inside of these places is unbelievable. Gigantic places that just are there to accommodate people's gambling and drinking and eating needs. And I fucking tip my hat off to them. And also really impressed with the fact that they're like, hey, there's obviously going to be a lot of foot traffic. Let's make sure people don't die in traffic, and let's build these pedestrian, footbridges above the roads so that people can kind of cross over and go wherever they need to without fucking up traffic.
Right. There's no stop signs. There's no chance of someone jaywalking. Like, there's always a way to get across. Always a way to get across.
And the monorail, I think, I've only been to Las Vegas 3 times, including this past trip. And each time has been a significant amount of years in between each one. And I'm always impressed with the improvements that they make. And the monorail is a great thing that just runs along. It's super cheap. It's like $5.50, and it just takes you. It's a great
$5.50 per ride.
per ride, or you can buy like an unlimited day pass for like $13.50 if you want.
Okay, that's not bad then. Yeah,
pretty solid. It's pretty solid for that sort of stuff. My only thing would be like, hey, connect that shit to the airport, because that would be
absolutely
super amazing if you could pull that off.
Yes.
So I wildly impressed with how these places are designed, which also goes into the fact that these places are designed like fucking labyrinths. Like you're stuck in a labyrinth and there's a minotaur in here coming to get you somewhere in the middle of this goddamn labyrinth. Dude, I'd like to actually go and check my steps, like how much I walked.
You totally should, yeah.
The day that I got there, so I got up, I did my normal workout. I walked, I stretched, I lifted, I did a second walk, and then I went to the airport. I walked around there, and then I went back in time, so I got bonus time, and then I walked, and I was just like walking around I stayed at MGM. I was walking around trying to find fucking food. Yeah. I was walking around trying to find a goddamn fitness center, and my watch was like, hey, are you doing an indoor walk? I'm like, I guess I've been walking for 15 minutes straight. I'm like, yeah, let's record this shit. Dude, I set a new record for exercise time in one day.
Jesus Christ.
And I doubled my move goal for the day.
Wow.
So I think.
So you did 2,200?
I ended up with 2,400 move calories for the day. I was like, Jesus Christ.
That's like running a marathon almost.
Right.
Like you're just moving nonstop.
Yeah. I was just, part of it too is like, I enjoy exploring these places because I just want to know where the fuck to go, because these places are massive, absolutely massive. Just
to take it in, right?
Yeah.
Like just to see everything that's going on there, because it's everything that you could ever want available 24/7. So why not see it all while you're there? You don't have that.
To some degree, I'm always curious. I'm like, what's going on over here for this gambling? Oh, they're playing craps. Interesting. Yeah. There's blackjack. There's poker.
And sometimes it's fun to even if you don't play, it's fun to just sit there and people watch, because these people are very fascinating. And if someone's got a run on a table, that can be fun to watch too.
Yeah. So kudos to all that sort of stuff. They're also, like entertainment wise, I've been to a couple shows in the past. I was not doing that this time, but they've got a lot of great residencies. Usher was there, and you've got all the different Cirque du Soleil shows. There's no shortage of things to watch and see and do. I want to put a pin in that because I have a question for you about that.
Please.
A little bit later, we'll get to it. But so there's a lot of impressive things about Las Vegas. And again, I want to say, if you've never been, you should at least go, but max it out at 2 days.
So that was my thing. I told Beth, because she's been twice, I think. You've been 3 times now, and I told her that you were there, and she's like, "Oh, how's that going?" I'm like, "Yeah, Doug." But Doug, and I've never been, and we've talked about. She almost did my 40th in Vegas, and she's like, "I'm glad I didn't, because I'm glad she didn't either." But the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm like, I feel like doing a fly-in. 2 days and then fly out, like a 4-day total trip, because you fly in, you get that little bit of that one day. One day I feel like you do the typical Vegas thing. One day you see a show, then you fly out, and that's it.
Yeah, honestly,
I feel like
Vegas, maybe to some people they're like, I need a fucking week. I feel like it just becomes dizzying, and that's where I'm going to start with my experience, because the way I can describe it is Las Vegas is an assault on your senses. From the second you land, you come out of your fucking airplane and immediately you're met with fucking slot machines everywhere. And you're like, Jesus Christ. And there are people like just waiting, burning time, fucking rolling the slots. I'm like, are there any, there's got to be winners here at some point in time, but
who knows?
It's just like, whatever. So there's that. All right. And then if you check your bags and you go to pick up your bags, you're then in this, the carousel area, and all it is it's just immediately like bright LED screens all around, just advertising for shit that's going on. So you just hear,
do they seriously?
Carrot Top. It's just, it is loud.
Do they seriously have club music playing everywhere?
They will do that, like for all the different advertisements, and the volume is jacked to the tits on these ads. I was like, Jesus Christ. I sent you a video. It didn't quite do it justice.
Visually it did, but like
visually, but it didn't probably catch the audio. I was like, oh my God. And then you've also got the sound of the slot machines that are also in the carriage,
just
or
bing,
the carousel
bing,
area.
bing, yeah.
It's just lots and lots of fucking noise. I'm like sitting there going like, oh my God, I just want to get my bags and get the fuck out of here. It's just like so loud and so bright. And you're like, get me out. And then to get an Uber out of there, because my company paid for rideshare. I mean, they have to
win an Uber.
Yeah, you got to roll the slots to see if you can win an Uber. They have a very it is insane. Like you go to the rideshare area and they have all of these, like they're like, call your rideshare and wait behind this line. Do not go beyond this line until your driver texts you and tells you which dock they're going to be picking you up at.
Shit.
Because they have like massive amounts of spots. So I'm sitting there going like, what the fuck? And it's like, I'm at dock E3. I'm like, I'm at E3. Where's E3? Like trying to get over there. And then, I get out of there and then I get to my hotel and I'm like, oh, okay, great. And then I walk in. At this point, it's probably 6:00 at night on a Tuesday. All right. Okay. I walk through the doors and it's just, again, bright lights from LED screens from a gift shop. And there's this fucking music. I'm like, oh, and there's just shitloads of people because these places are massive, right?
Yeah.
And the lobby is absolutely massive. And there's just a bunch of people clustered together. They're talking. And I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like this. And I will give another shout out, at least for where I was staying at MGM. They have an app. And I was able to check in online, and when my room was ready, it notified me, and my phone was my room key.
That's beautiful.
I never once had to stop by the front desk checking out. I just pressed the button, and I was done. It was fucking amazing. Absolutely amazing. I love that shit. I was like, let's expedite this. Let's get this going. Let me know what's up. So kudos to that. But I walk in, it's just, again, it's an assault on your senses. It's visual. It's auditory. I'm like, all right, now I got to find my fucking room. Because this place is massive. It has 3 towers. And I'm like, all right, I was on the first floor, which I'm like, that's fine. I'm not here to sightsee. My room had a view of which looked like probably where people were buried under the rocks. There was a ladder out there that never moved that was on its side. There was some hose that was not hooked up to anything. It was just a bunch of rocks. I'm like, there's people buried back here for sure.
100%.
So I'm trying to, and of course you have to walk through the casino to get to your room.
It's designed to always make you go through the casino. I was told too that they purposely don't have any windows, so you never know what time it is.
Yep. There's no windows and there's no clocks.
Time is meaningless. Yeah. There.
And it's specifically designed to be a labyrinth so that you get lost and hopefully give up and just go, I'm going to sit here and gamble, or just lay down on the floor and cry. I don't know. I don't know what people.
I'm tired. I'm going to sit.
And so I'm walking through the casino, and then I'm hit with smells because in Vegas you can just fucking chain smoke in the casino, because that's the thing that people are allowed to do.
Weird.
And I'm like, oh fuck, I'm not used to this. I grew up with this, obviously, in smoking, non-smoking spots, but I was just like, oh God, this is just like attacking my sense. I see people there just like chain smoking, hitting the slots, just like, yeah, it's gonna happen.
And I'm sure
it's gonna happen.
You have not only
days.
Cigarettes, but cigars. I'm sure you have it's thick smoke coming from every.
So you've got that. You've got loud fucking music, and you've got the noise of all the goddamn slot machines. And these things are fucking loud. And you're just like, I'm like, where? I'm trying to. I've never been like this. I imagine when people like throw flashbangs or something into a room. This is probably what they're feeling, where they're like, you see the movies are like, cover your ears, and like, bam, and you're just like, oh my God, I'm so confused. Like, I don't know what's happening. That's how I felt like. I'm like, just keep going. Just keep pushing through. So I get to that, and then I get out of like the immediate casino area, and then I buy some restaurants, and then I get a different scent from that, and then the music shifts depending on what section you're in, and then it's like, you walk by some other areas and there's another restaurant that has live music. So then you're getting that music and then different smells from that. And then it's just, you're like, oh my God. And then I get to my room and I'm like, oh, thank Christ. And then I kind of unwind for a second. And I'm like, I'm fucking starving. Now I got to go find food. I got to go hunt for food.
Right.
And so I went on, a hunt for that sort of stuff. And shit's pretty goddamn expensive there too. You know, the old days you're like, well, at least you get the buffets for cheap. Now those days, that's when the mob ran things. You know,
right, when it was good.
Mob's like, yeah, for a fucking quarter, you go ahead and spend some. We want you to spend your money over there in the fucking slots.
Yeah,
you know,
we'll give you lobster. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, doesn't fucking matter. Just gotta go over there to throw the craps. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was just like, I don't know, it was a lot. It was an absolute lot. So like my first night, I was like, give me something to eat. And let me kind of get my surroundings. And I actually found a relatively decent place. It's a wood-fired pizza. It was delicious.
I've heard of wood-fire, yeah.
I mean, it was not called that. It was called something else.
There is a place in, I think, Grand Rapids called Wood-Fire.
They served wood-fired pizza.
I got it.
So
yes,
it was all fresh. They get out the dough. They take it. They basically make it any way that you want. And it's fantastic. It was great. So there's that. And then, I would go for walks early in the morning. And I was like, this could be interesting walking on the Strip. And the Strip is just like the lights. The lights from the Strip, man, from all these giant LED screens just shining, blasting in your face of advertising, everything. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, this is all the time this is happening. And again, initially you're like, holy shit, look at this stuff. I'm walking by the Aria Resort, which is 3 gigantic towers. I mean, it looks like a big old open arms, like, come on into the Aria, baby. We've got tower over here, and legs wide open right down the middle, baby. Come on into the Aria. You're like, Jesus Christ. And you're walking by New York. There's a fucking roller coaster. They've got everything designed to look like New York buildings, but those are actually where the rooms are. You're like, holy shit. And then you walk by Caesar's Palace and you're like, this place is fucking huge. And there's this Roman architecture. And again, like, there's the Venetian, there's the Cosmopolitan, there's all these like massive things. And then you look, and in between the Venetian and Harrah's, there's a fucking Denny's. And you're like, wait a second, what? And you look further down and there's like a sign for like an Olive Garden. You're like, what? And then there's an Outback right next to that. And then there's a Collection, the most corporate building you've ever seen, that I sent you a picture of. That was like,
sent me a picture of this one, yeah.
Bubba Gump, Taco Bell, Subway, Walgreens, McDonald's. Like, it's just like, which corporate entity is your favorite? You know?
Honestly, in that picture, there must have been at least 20 to 30 corporate logos jammed into one what looked like a duplex strip mall.
Yes.
It was insane.
And so as you start looking a little bit closer at things, you're like, you see all this magnificence and all this sort of stuff, and then you're like, but there's a Denny's. And in all of these places, there's slot machines in all of them because it's fucking legal.
Right.
You know? And I started to realize, I'm like, of course this is here, because this is where most of the people are, and most of the people are looking for creature comforts. They want something that they know that they can easily go to without having to worry about, am I going to like this? Because the fancy stuff exists. I mean, every fucking chef in the world, Gordon Ramsay has a couple places.
Sure,
Giada's got some shit there, and Morimoto's got stuff there. Every chef has some sort of restaurant there. So that exists. But for other folk who are just like, I'm here to gamble and have fun, it's like, well, you got your Denny's, you got your Subway, you got your Taco Bell, you got your Chipotle, you got your Panda Express, you got all that shit that's just like nestled in between these massive like architectural wonders. Yeah. And that where I was like, oh, right. This, as I zoom out, I'm like, this is a tourist trap. That's what the Strip is.
Sure.
It's
absolutely.
a tourist trap.
Yeah.
It's a 100% tourist trap where you come in, they want you to spend your money, they want you to be comfortable, and you realize there's a whole ecosystem and obviously world that exists outside of the Strip. And not unlike living in Chicago, and Chicagoans don't go to Navy Pier because that's a tourist area. Just like native Las Vegans don't go to the fucking Strip because why the fuck would they?
Right. There's the Strip, and then there's real Vegas.
Exactly.
Real Las Vegas. Here's where the neighborhoods are, and here's where, my kid goes to school.
Yeah.
And
the Strip is also insanely close to the airport. Like, they know exactly what they're doing. Like,
absolutely.
Come in and come right here. It's not some over the river through the woods. They're like, no, fucking fly in and come right over here. And,
like, it's not a 90-minute drive to get from one to the other. It's you literally can you walk off the tarmac and then you're just on the Strip. Yeah. Most planes land. They don't know that they taxi on the Strip.
Exactly. That's where they go. Just like in Con Air, And
If there's one thing I learned from that documentary.
That is true. Nick Cage is,
it is don't steal the bunny.
Don't steal the bunny, bitch. And then like as you start looking a little bit closer, you start seeing kind of like, in my opinion, the sadness that exists. So like, you and I have lived in Chicago. We've been to a lot of different cities. A lot of those cities are going to have a homeless population.
Yes.
That's the truth. And a lot of times when you look at the homeless and you look at your surroundings, it's pretty fucking sad because you can look and see a lot of prosperous things happening, a lot of progress, and then you see someone sleeping in a park or whatever.
The disparity is very, very evident.
It's like these things are coexisting and it's upsetting. It's even, to me, even more impactful when I'm walking along the strip and I see these bright LED screens shining and I see someone sleeping on artificial grass in front of a fucking casino because they don't have anywhere to be. And you're just looking at all this massive wealth that is existing around, and then you see these people in the light of consumerism as someone that is struggling to survive. And I'm also like, I'm on my walk trying to get my steps in. I'm like, fuck, this is really like hitting me hard right here as I'm like, shit, okay, this is damn. Okay, yeah, this is kind of rough seeing all this in one shot. And then, I get up 5 a.m. to go for a walk and I see people down gambling. Some people got up early to gamble. Some people haven't gone to bed, and you're just watching them and you're looking at these, you start looking at the faces of the workers who are like, I got to be down here, just waiting because some people are just waiting for someone to show up to a table to start gambling.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God. And then you also look at the people who are cleaning up after some of these monsters who don't know how to take care of themselves. I came back from a walk and there was a woman. I saw her on my way out. She looked her mannerisms, as someone who spent 6 years watching people while being in a hotel and also living in the city for 13 years. There's certain mannerisms where you're like, something's off about this person.
Yep, absolutely.
And this woman was standing on the stairs going up to like a second floor, and I saw her and she was just like, it's strange the way she was like digging into her purse, because her purse was laying on the ground and she was like kind of digging it like a bear trying to get into like a hole, like
pawing into her purse.
And I was like, that's kind of weird. And I just, she wasn't really looking up or anything. And then so I leave, I'm gone for like an hour. I come back and she's sitting on the stairs. She has not moved, but now she's sitting and she's just like slowly like, veering off to the side. She's like drunk or under some sort of influence and she's passing out. And I'm just watching as like workers are just like going by, vacuuming the carpets and stuff. And I'm like, this is just regular occurrence. And I'm like, do I tell somebody that this woman is just sort of here? I'm sure they're used to it,
Oh, they know. Like, they know. There's enough cameras. They know. Someone knows that she's there.
She's just like, whatever. And I'm just like, oh, man, this is kind of sad. And I think part of the problem with Vegas, too, is it's not unlike college in that there's this mythology around Las Vegas. And not like there's a mythology about going to, like, college is like, we're going to fucking party, we're going to drink, we're going to get fucking laid, and we're going to woo, Delta Sigma Chi, yeah, baby.
I've seen Animal House, I've seen Van Wilder, I've seen,
you name it. Like, people are like, I understand what this is. And Vegas, I think, is very similar in that they're like, hey, man, I've seen, Hangover, and just the idea that Vegas' slogan is like, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right?
Right. Like, I'm gonna have the most debaucherous night. I'm gonna get fucked up, and then it always ends up biting you in the ass. Right.
And so people have those kinds of expectations, and as I saw people coming in and checking in, and my last night was probably the most depressing, and I'm gonna try and be as kind as possible.
Okay. I don't think I heard about the last night.
I don't think you did.
Okay.
But I was going to my room, and I was like going into my room, and I saw two very large people, a very large man, obese, and a very large woman, also obese. And the man like had a cane, and this guy wasn't old. Mm-hmm. He's probably my age, maybe a little bit older, somewhere between 40 and 50. And these two were struggling to walk. Struggling just to get to where they were going. And I heard like this guy was breathing super heavily, and he's just like, they said we gotta go to the elevator, but they didn't say it was 5 football fields away. And the woman with him was like, more like 5 fucking miles. And I'm like, oh my God. Like these people are here. And they're not wrong. It was a long way from the front desk to my room. And then they still had to go further down the hallway and then take an elevator up to wherever else they were going. It is a hike. And I'm just sitting there going like, man, these folks are going to have a miserable time in Las Vegas. Like an absolute miserable time being here.
Unless they can find some of those rascals or some sort of motorized, like, but Vegas is you walk, like you go casino to casino as I know it. I mean, obviously there's you can get lifts and taxis and this, that, and the other thing. But like, I mean, you're like you were saying, the strip is there to be walked. They make it very walkable. So
absolutely. Now that you get into a casino, it's massive. Like you're going to have to go around. And again, going back to like, it's so easy to get lost. I was going to the convention and I was like, I don't want to fucking take an Uber. I honestly don't enjoy, like, I don't like relying on taxis or ride shares to get around in places. I feel like it's just a giant waste of everything. It's a waste of energy. Yeah. It's a waste of money. It's just, it's bad altogether.
Especially if it is walkable.
Right. So
like if it's not going to take you 2 hours to get there by walking, you know, like if it's manageable, then you got it yourself.
I was thinking at MGM Mirage was probably about a 40-minute walk. But I also learned it's not a direct shot. Because here's the thing. They were setting up for a Formula One race that's happening in like 2 weeks.
Fun.
And the Formula One race is taking place on the fucking strip.
Got it. So like they just did with downtown Chicago with the NASCAR thing.
Right. So they've, over the last 6 months, they've been building temporary stands, different spots, and it's honestly impressive. It's a feat to see what they've been building, but that fucks up traffic and it fucks up the walkways as well. Like the Bellagio had to shut off their water show because
no shit.
That's where a big portion of people like things were going to be. So like you had, and plus there's just regular construction too. So like getting there is pretty tricky as far as like, you know, where you need to go. So I took the monorail, and the monorail dropped me off at Harrah's, which was right across the street from the Mirage. But I get off at Harrah's and I'm like, first of all, it's like you come out of the monorail and there's this massive hallway and it's like Link this way, Harrah's this way. I'm like, what the fuck is Link? I don't know, LINQ. I was like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, I think it's Harrah's. So I come out and now I'm in a brand new casino that I don't know. I know MGM, no problem. But now I come down, I'm like, fuck, where's the street? And I'm like wandering. I'm trying to follow the signs. It's like, you know, check in this way. I'm like, well, it's got to be by check in, right? That's got to be where it is, right? So I go over to the front desk, and then I just see like parking and rideshare this way. I'm like, maybe this way? Justin, I end up in some back alley parking lot area, and I'm trying to use GPS on my phone, and I'm heading away from where I need to go. I'm like, where the fuck am I? I'm looking around. I'm like, holy shit, what's going on? And I'm just wandering around. I'm like, there's some steps that go up. I'm like, that looks like it goes to a roof of something. Probably not where I need to go. And I'm like, where the fuck? And I see this one sign that says Venetian this way. I'm like, well, the Venetian is also across the street from the Mirage. I'm going to follow this. So I'm like going through underpasses and shit. And I'm in some parking lot. And then I pop out and I'm like in the front of the Venetian. And I'm like, dear God, the street.
Where did I just go?
And I came over and I had 2 other colleagues that came with me. They also took the monorail and they said, we got fucking lost. We took an Uber from Harrah's over. I go, where did you come out? Did you come out in some back alley? They're like, yeah. I go, that's where I came out. We all got lost. And our way back, I was like, all right, let's go in through the front door, because we found the front door. And I was like, and I found the path. But it was so goddamn confusing. And I was like, where am I?
That's insane.
It was insane. I was like, and this is by design. It's by design to be confusing and be stressful and all.
I'm sure you passed on that journey. I'm sure you passed a record number of slot machines.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable amount of slot machines. It was absolutely unheard of. And I will say this much. When you think of Las Vegas, you think of gambling, partying, and hooas. And I remember in past, when I was like, the first time I went, I was in junior high. And I remember people were just out on the street handing out cards for hookers and escorts.
Sure, yeah,
just like,
absolutely,
hey, I didn't see that at all. which I was actually surprised. I think at one place when I was walking, I saw like some cards were tucked into some sort of like fixture or whatever. It's like they go right up to your room. I'm like, oh, I would hope so. I mean, I don't know where else we're going to do this, but okay.
Well, in the back alley of the Venetian.
I guess probably.
You came out, yeah.
That's right. They're like, whores. But one of the, because also strip clubs and stuff like that's what it's known for, or like adult entertainment as well. But on one of my walks, I was walking by like all these, different places. And of course there's a fucking CVS, right? And the CVS looks shady as shit, as is wont to do. And I walk by and there's a guy dressed as the best way I can describe him is he looks like a merchant on a boardwalk in the 1920s. He's got a beautiful suit on, bright navy blue suit. And he's got like a cork hat. Like, I don't know if you'd call it cork straw hat. It's like flat and it goes around.
Like the kind like a barbershop quartet would wear.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it was. And I'm walking by and he looks at me and he points and he goes, titties for breakfast, strip club. And I looked at him and I was like, what the fuck? I started laughing. Because I was like, I'm sorry, what? He's like, titties for breakfast. And I'm like, it's 5:30 in the morning. And I'm like, no.
Do you work for a strip club or are you just saying this?
Because I was looking around. I was like, we're at a CVS.
Right.
There's no strip club in the immediate vicinity.
Maybe. Are you sure the CVS didn't stand for cool vaginas, sir?
Yeah, I guess. Maybe.
It's a strip club here.
Boys, if CVS is like, we have slots and strippers, I mean, now we
got
talking.
slots and slots and slots.
Right, we got all the slots and all the versions of it. So I was just trying to do the math real quick, and I was like, wait, there's not a strip club here. There's an alley down there. Are you going to put me in a car and then take me to a strip club? Is that how this is going to work? Like, I'm obviously going to have to pay you some sort of fee to get there, and then, not to be disrespectful, but who's on the first shift? At 5:30 in the morning in a strip club, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
also,
what are we doing?
do you have scrambled eggs?
Right,
because I'm hungry.
Also, I'm in workout clothes. That doesn't. I mean, listen, this is Vegas. I'm sure they've gotten all sorts of people.
Absolutely.
Like, actually, you know what? I am kind of hungry, and I would love to see some titties for breakfast. Yeah. And I just laughed because I was like, no.
That's the weirdest.
No, but thank you.
Just his whole pitch, just titties for breakfast.
I was like, hey man, you're a barker, and I respect the hustle. You're like, I gotta get people's attention.
He got your attention. I was just gonna say, like, he succeeded in that step of the process.
Because he was also doing it in a silly way, where he's like, because some other guys are probably like, hey man,
the seedy.
You wanna see some titties? What kind of areolas you into? You into the big double wide pepperonis? You want perky? What are you looking for?
You like them pink puffers?
You want the pink puffer? You want long ones? This guy's like, titties for breakfast. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, honestly, that's how you would get me. It's just this guy's like, hey, again, Las Vegas knows what it is. Yeah. It's not ashamed. It's like, you want to see some titties? It's breakfast time. Let's do this. And I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do that. That's
no, thank you.
It's not for me. Yeah. But I laughed really, really hard. And that's an ongoing joke now, like in my household.
In your house, yeah.
I forget how I used it, but I said something like, Jill said something, and I responded with like, nah, they're more of a titties for breakfast kind of person, and she just lost her mind. I was like, yeah, it was very fun. I was also really surprised at how many families I saw. Really? In Vegas.
That does shock me, actually.
Because they tout some family-friendly shows like Donny Osmond. It's like the best family-friendly show, highest family-friendly show in the area. But I'm sure
a lot of the Cirque shows are probably family-friendly.
They are. That's actually, I remember when I went, I was in junior high. We stayed at Treasure Island and we saw one of the Cirque du Soleil shows. Years later, when we went back, Jill was there for a conference. I joined her on the back end. We went and saw another Cirque du Soleil show. I mean, they have Cirque du Soleil shows all over. There's a Beatles themed one.
Yeah, I thought of you every time.
Every time I went there, I was like, oh, Justin, he likes the Beatles. There you go. But I was just surprised because in general, like, I can't imagine taking Natalie there and being like, see all this stuff? You can't play it.
Right, exactly, yeah. Like all these lights and these fun sounds and none of these are video games for you. I'm sorry.
No. Yeah, no, that's like, plug your nose as we walk by here,
Right.
And like, I don't understand. I don't even know what we would do with her at this age. And there were kids that were her age, maybe a little bit older, that were walking around with their parents. I'm I'm like, I don't know what you all are going to be doing. Like,
I feel like that'd be a very boring trip for a kid.
Yeah.
Very boring trip. Unless there's family stuff that you weren't clued into. You know what I mean?
I mean, they have some thrill-seeking stuff, I guess, to some degree. But in general, I'm like, I don't know what you're going to be doing most of the time. That is, if you're going on a family trip, Las Vegas is pretty low on the list for me as far as like where we're going to go and hang out. You know, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. You know, because I remember when I was in junior high, they're like, hey, just so you know, if you're under 21, you cannot leave the carpet. Like, there's a certain carpet here cannot because you're not allowed to veer off of that and even get close to that. Because if you're gambling, you're not 21, everyone's in deep shit.
Yep.
So like I was staying at Treasure Island. They're like, you stay on the path with the jewels. There's a jeweled carpet. Do not get off of that carpet. Like, you have to follow that.
Yeah.
And I was like super paranoid. I was like, oh my God, don't get off the carpet. Or
they're going to arrest me. Yeah.
They're going to be big trouble. And then when I was over 21, I was like free to roam. It was just, you know, it's just so different, man. It's just a weird thing. I can't imagine having family there to be like, I wouldn't even know what I would do. Because even the pools, like, you got to pay extra for some of that shit sometimes. Like,
did you spend any time at the pool?
No.
Because
it was open. It was open at weird times. And I think you had to pay extra to do it. This isn't just like, I'm going to go hang out at the pool. It's like, no, these are like private cabanas, you know?
Fuck that.
I was like, yeah, okay. I brought my swim trunks, but I'm like, well, I guess I'm not going to do that ever. Yeah. Things were so weird that when they were open, which makes sense, I guess, to some degree. But I'm like, I'm obviously not at a convention during most work hours. So, that is what it is. But, you know.
Yeah. When Beth went, she stayed off the strip at, I think she stayed, I want to say she maybe stayed in Old Vegas, which I know is like another section of town, or the place that she stayed that she loved was called Red Rocks. And it was very, like, that was more of your traditional, it was like a nicer hotel, still had slot machines, but like, you know, you could go to the pool without having to pay extra to get into the pool, the club, you know?
Yeah. When I left, I got charged like $42 a day for a resort fee. And I was like, why don't you just include that in your fucking room rate?
That's odd, man.
As like extra. I'm like, what? Why wouldn't you just include that in the rate?
Like, you didn't participate in anything that would have been deemed resort.
Or it's like, you're staying here with us, so there's a resort fee. I'm like, well, no shit, I stayed here.
Right.
Like,
so just bake that into the final cost. It's weird. Yeah.
Which I'm kind of grateful they didn't, because otherwise my company was only going to pay a certain amount. They have like caps, so actually that got under the cap for that by them not including it. So I guess yay for that. But I'm like, what the fuck, man? Why would you just be like, oh, by the way, there's a resort fee? I'm like, obviously I'm staying here. Just fucking add that to the rate, you dipshits. Like, what are you doing? There's an extra $130 some bucks. I'm like, well, I'm not paying for that, but that's still fucked up that you're just like, by the way, here's the extra charges. I'm like, get fucked, you assholes. So. Anyway.
Well, what was you wanted to put a pin in something?
All right, pin in something. So I saw a lot of performers, right? And some performers have residencies there.
Yeah.
Where they have there for prolonged periods of time. Carrot Top is a common one. And there's some other folks that like Usher was doing a residency for a while. Like David Copperfield's there. You know, some of those magic
at the
shows.
Sphere right now.
Right, exactly. So it's like, as a performer, do you think having something like that in Vegas would be, I think money-wise, it would probably be pretty solid, I would assume. Right?
Oh, I have to. Absolutely, yeah.
Do you feel like...
Britney did it. Celine Dion did it. Like, all these huge... Adele's doing it right now. I mean...
Oh, that's right. I did see
I don't believe that they would do it if... Katy Perry's another one that's got one right now. I don't think these people would be doing it if the money was not fantastic. Right. I don't think there's a lot of benefit to... Like, I don't think it's a career highlight to say, I had a residency in Vegas. I think people do that because I'm getting a giant payday.
Because that's what I was curious, you know, as your thoughts on, again, there's no, if you're performing and getting paid, fucking awesome. But do you think is there prestige with that? Do people look at that as like, all right, well, he's in Vegas, like, permanently, you know, or he's been there for a long time, like, you know, whatever. Do you think... You know, there's again, I no judgment here for me or anything like that for people that are in residencies, but I don't know. I was just kind of curious what you thought, or anyone who's listening, you know, shout out what you think. Is there shame to have like a prolonged residency in Vegas?
I don't think there's any shame to it per se. Like, I don't think it's shameful.
Maybe I don't know. Shame's not the right word.
Yeah. I don't. Personally, I'll say I don't hold it in a you've made it. Like, I don't ever look at that and go, wow, you've really met. I don't think U2 needed to do a residency. You know what I mean? I don't think Celine Dion, when she was doing it, Adele, any of these people, I don't think they're like, oh man, my career, this is make or break time. I got to get this residency, or my record label's dropping me. My Insta followers are going to go in the toilet. I don't think that's a make or break thing. I do think, I don't know. I mean, look, back in the day, yes, I think there was some prestige to it. Like when Sinatra was there and Sammy and all the, all the big name people would, they ran the town and they were there all the time. They did the residencies. I think that, so maybe there's some carryover from that. If someone's playing Vegas, I'm like, oh, cool, they're in Vegas. But I don't think there's any, I'm not a marquee performer, so I don't know. Maybe in that world, maybe there is some esteem to it. Maybe people are like, oh, fuck, you got a Vegas? Maybe it's invite only. And they're like, shit, they invited you to come out. That's huge. I don't know. I don't think so.
Does it depend on the act as well? Because for example, if a comedian, you know what I mean? It's like, again, Carrot Top is a butt of so many jokes. I have no ill will towards him. I've never seen his show, whatever. Like, I have nothing about it. But he's kind of known for being like in Vegas. Like, he's been in Vegas for a long time. I remember seeing billboards for his shit the last time that I went years ago. So like, Vegas has been his place to do that sort of stuff. For comedy, if you have like a prolonged, because I know some guys go there and they'll have like a residency for like a few months and then they whatever. But if anyone's just there for a long time, is that considered?
I think it's a guarantee. What you might be getting out of that is a guaranteed audience. You're playing. Know Vegas is going to be packed all the time, and people are looking for things to do. They're looking for shows to go to. So if you've got that, and you've got the machine promoting you, I think that's probably a huge boon, especially for a comedian. For these bigger acts, again, I don't think U2 needs that, but they're probably doing it because it's a really easy, sweet payday. Mm-hmm. I really think that's more what it is. Because
the promotion you see for this shit all around town is it's bombarding you all the time for who's where, who's doing what, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, like they are constantly doing that shit. So I just wonder artistically if it gets old, you know what I mean? Because even stuff for like Cirque du Soleil, they're like, hey, it's the same show again.
We're doing it again.
Some of these shows I saw when I was junior high. I'm like,
I think for that, the nice thing is they get to swap out performers.
Of course, absolutely.
Because we know Surreal was the juggler. He was doing a Cirque show, and then he moved on and did some other stuff, and they brought someone else, another juggler, in to replace it. So that's probably how you don't get. But when you're a show like that, an ensemble show, and you're not individually, you're not famous. Then it's easy to keep that fresh because that can just keep rolling along, and you
it's
just
like Blue Man Group,
exactly.
As long as you're the certain height, and you just whatever,
and you can percuss.
Yeah, it's actually a really smart business model because you can replicate that and
it goes indefinitely.
Yeah, and
that everyone gets a chance to see.
And that doesn't have any fucking words. The same thing with Cirque du Soleil. Like it's a language of performance. Right. It's not actual anything else. Whereas like David Copperfield has his residency at MGM Grand.
I feel like I would be like, man, are you still like this? Are you not tired? and kudos to you. You are one of the most famous magicians ever to live.
Right.
You're in the same conversation sphere as like a Houdini and you're huge. Are you not bored of this yet?
Yeah. No, that's I don't know. Because for that, it's like, when do you change up the tricks? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because how long does that go on before you adjust that sort of stuff? And I'm sure there's a formula to it. It's like they probably have it figured out and whatnot. You got David Blaine. No, it's Chris Angel is there.
Mind freak. Yeah.
Mind freak. And all sorts of stuff. But I don't know. I was seeing all that stuff and
that's a great question. I just I don't think
the Jabberwockies, those guys that wear the masks and do the dances and stuff like that. You familiar with them at all?
I don't think you can say that, but
you sure can because I saw it all over.
I think it's the Ewoks.
So you know what? You're right. God damn it! I always get those two confused. The Jabberwockies and the Ewoks.
That's all right. It happens.
It happens. It happens to the best of us.
I need to look up Jabberwocky.
They wear white masks and they're known for impressive dancing.
Jabberwocky's official website.
Yeah.
What's this? Oh, Las Vegas show. Look at this. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I've seen these guys. Yeah. They're good. They've got a residency then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're also at the MGM Grand. It's just like, I don't know, man. It's one of those things where I don't know. There's something about it. Yo, Gabba Gabba. It's something about that just seems like exhausting. Like the idea of this endless residency.
An endless residency, yes. Like if you were like, I'm doing a 3-month or a 6-month residency, I'd be like, that's fucking absolutely. Let's go. Let's have fun in Vegas. It's a different. It's an experience. Right. Maybe that's what it is too. It's just like it's the experience of having you don't have to. Here's the benefit too. You don't have to travel. Mm-hmm. You're not on a tour bus. You're not doing a different city every fucking night. Yeah. You know where you're at. You can set up in probably a really fucking sweet suite at the top of one of the hotels. They probably take care of you. It's in your contract. And so you can just be there, Yeah,
dude, you could probably hit the buffet as much as you want.
I'm just saying. Free. They probably don't even have to pay. Yeah. It's really nice.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think there's got to be some pretty positive elements to that in that you know where you're going to be. You know the theater. And there is a marketing machine behind that.
Yeah.
You've got a stream of people all the time. So
you're probably going to sell out most nights.
And that's the thing too, is because it's one thing if you're like, all right, I'm going to hit LA or whatever, or I'm going to go hit Chicago. Those people still live there. Some people travel in or whatever, but Las Vegas, it's like people are rotating in and out of there daily. Right. So it's the idea of putting on that show. It's got to be pretty cool to some degree to like have that regular influx of people and things like that. So,
and you're constantly feeding off that new energy. It's people who either haven't seen you and they're like, oh great, I'm going to go to Vegas. They've got a residency. Finally, I can make this happen.
Right.
And usually those shows a little bit bigger, a little bit bolder because they know that they have their set pieces set up and they can do something. So you're going to see a true fucking, like a real good show.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's probably where a lot of the benefit also from an artistic standpoint, you get to spread your wings a little bit more because you have a dedicated spot for your stuff.
I don't know why, but for some reason, for some of that stuff, I just felt sad, and I don't know if that's fair
for residencies.
Just like I would walk by some of these places, and I got the feeling that they weren't sold out.
Got it. Okay.
And I was just like, I don't know, like, because I think that's the part that's sad is like, I've got this residency, I got this place, but people are not showing up. You know what I mean? And
that would be tough.
Ooh, in a town that's already kind of like chew you up and spit you out, for the average folk, and then have a performer. It's like, hey,
I'm here too.
Come here,
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. There was just like a lot of inherent sadness for me.
That's interesting that you felt that. Yeah.
And again, I am in no way trying to be disrespectful to anybody. Like,
no, absolutely not.
I want to make that abundantly clear that if you're getting paid to perform in a place like Vegas, fucking good on you, man. Like you're doing it. You're living that stuff out. I just wonder if it's like, cause I saw the movie Elvis starring Elvis and Tom Hanks, and he got fucking trapped there, probably because it was a bad deal. But the idea of, I'm like, I don't know, do people feel trapped there? Is this kind of like just their thing? If they're happy, fucking great. I'm all for it. Like, I'm not here to I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. I want people, I don't know. There's something about, and maybe because I was there from like, I came in on a Tuesday and I left on a Friday. I wasn't there at peak hours. You know what I mean? I wasn't there at peak times.
Sure. On the weekend, is it different?
Yeah, I'm sure it's different. But I was walking by all these box offices, for these things, and they were just dark. I don't know I don't think there were shows going on or whatever. And maybe again, like they don't necessarily have to have shows every night or whatever. But I'm just sitting there like, there's certain things in life that I find sad and or creepy. A sad thing is like a strip mall that doesn't have very many stores. Like it's just like a whole bunch of available space. I'm like, that's fucking sad. A fucking school that's empty, a hospital that's empty, places where people should be and they're not. The expectation is that this place should be active and full of stuff. And when you don't see people there, I get sad because I feel like something should be here and it's not here. And it just feels like there's just this void.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I immediately go, is anyone going to go see this Cirque du Soleil show Ka at MGM? Is anyone going to this? I mean, it looks cool.
Yeah.
But is anyone going? I don't see anyone at David Copperfield's line. I don't know when he's playing, but is anyone going to see David Copperfield? What's
David okay?
David Jabberwocky's what's going? Tape Face. I don't see anyone. There's a guy outside the Tape Face thing, and I don't think it's full. Is Tape Face getting what he needs?
Your empathy runneth over. That's what it is.
Well,
you're just overly empathetic to everybody.
I'm a mild performer, all right? And to be on a stage like Vegas into a place that, in my opinion, is just naturally filled with sadness, to see people, attempting to perform and people not showing up, that just breaks me to my core. Or I'm just like, fuck, as someone who has performed to nobody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've
to a room of one or two people, and you're like, hey, we're gonna do improv. One of you two people, give me a suggestion.
Are you suggesting that we should get a residency in Vegas? Is that what I'm hearing?
Why the fuck not?
Doug, go against. Hey,
let's flip
what's
it.
The opposite? Let's flip it. What's the opposite of what everyone else is doing?
Let's flip this.
Show me one other podcast that has residency in Vegas. I'm just saying.
I mean, Two Bears, One Cave. They're going to be there MGM Grand Arena in February for the Super Bowl. So,
Yeah, but they're in and they're out. That's it.
Right? For one night only,
I'm saying 18-month residency minimum.
And you know what? It's in our contract. Talk to our agent. All right, guys. Plus the standard $3,000 industry fee, which is nothing to them. This is where it doesn't work in our favor. They're like, exactly. Yeah, sure, no problem. $3,000 sign-on bonus, no problem. Add to your credit at the buffet.
This is the one we end up getting screwed with our own deal.
Fuck, we should have gone percentages.
God damn it. Oh.
Do this plus our standard $3,000 fee. They're like,
we got him, Doug.
You're like, deal. You guys can perform, in the lobby during check-in. How about that? You fucking losers. Yeah, so all that to be said, thank you for letting me share my experience in Las Vegas.
Yes, of course.
Incredibly vivid. And each time I end up back there, which, by the way, never really looking to go there. It just sort of happens that I end up there. It's always an experience, and I think it's a very interesting human experience. And to me, it's unique because there's awe mixed with sadness. And it's one of the strangest places on earth, hands down. Sure. It's one of the weirdest cities you can ever go to because there's nothing like Las Vegas at all. Yeah. And once again, for all its flaws and all of its glory, it is what it is, and it knows what it is, and it doesn't apologize for it. So to that I say, respect Las Vegas.
Respect. In a way, Las Vegas is acting very practically.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a soundboard today.
Oh shit! I should have known that before.
Still haven't rectified that situation.
Oh, well, fuck. Here we go. All right, that wasn't it. That was. Oh,
that was the MGM lion.
That was a lion. Let's see here. Where are we? Here we go.
Sorry.
You got the questions, we got the answers. All you do is ask. Nice. Practical. Ask Practical Doug.
Oh my God, I'm gonna buff.
I'm in the remix. I might not even get another soundboard. This might just work.
Yeah. Doug, stop. Got it.
I also might take yours away. So if you've never been to here for an Ask Practical Doug before, what is wrong with you? But let me explain what it is. There's a small Doug that lives inside of Big Doug, and small Doug is called Practical Doug. And he guides Big Doug on all of life's journeys through all of its quagmires and helps answer all of its questions. And if you have a question, you can ask Practical Doug a question on social media at MindGap Podcast, #AskPracticalDoug. You can also come to our Discord and you can check out the channel, the Ask Practical Doug channel, dedicated to questions for Practical Doug. One of our favorite things, though, is to go to the Reddit well and our subreddit, Am I the Asshole? And today we've got one from WittyCat, 1996. WittyCat,
baby.
1996. WittyCat, 1996 asks, Am I the asshole for telling my husband his best friend can't sleep over anymore? I love the setup on this.
Yeah.
My husband, okay. My husband, 27, that's confusingly written. So Witty Cat, 1996, is a 27-year-old female. So my husband, who's a 29-year-old male, has been best friends with John, 29 male, fake name, since birth.
Thanks for letting us know it's fake.
John lives about an hour. This leads me to believe it's not fake. I think his name is John. He lives about an hour and a half away and comes to visit once every month or so. So he always insists on staying at our house. John's parents live in the same city about 5 minutes away. John is very nice, but very messy. John leaves his dirty socks on my kitchen table. Ugh. He puts his dirty backpack on the table and just has no regard for cleanliness. He doesn't shower when he spends the night and wears the same clothes the entire stay, even though they smell because he rides his bike everywhere or takes public transit. Last time John stayed over, he slept in our guest room, but the entire next morning wanted to nap on our couch, making me very uncomfortable because he put his feet on my throw pillows and spread the contents of his backpack all over my house. John also insists we drive him to a SkyTrain station about 40 minutes away rather than dropping him off at his parents' house when it's time to go home. He has never offered to pay for gas and refuses to get a car even though he has the money. After he stays over, I usually have to spend the entire day cleaning because he makes a big mess and gets things dirty. So, am I the asshole for saying that he can't sleep over anymore?
It's a great question, right? Because I feel like while I haven't experienced this directly, I've had some sort of issue like this in the past where you're like, this isn't really my friend or this isn't my family member, right? But they're driving me nuts. I think what this boils down to whether or not the poster is having an ongoing conversation with their husband. Sure. Because as most of this comes down to, if she all of a sudden just says, he can't sleep over anymore.
Like she just snaps.
It just snaps and says, no, we can't do this anymore. Her husband's going to be like, what the fuck?
Right.
You know, Chris Cochran, I didn't realize I was married to you. And so if this is an ongoing conversation and she's letting her husband know, hey, listen, this is really kind of annoying. When he comes by, like it grosses me out that he left his socks on the kitchen table. Mm-hmm. He puts his bag here. He smells like I don't really enjoy him being around here, and it's annoying that when we're all said and done, we got to drive 40 minutes. You know, like I don't mind hanging out with him, but I would feel better if he didn't stay here. Sort of situations. Just, I can maybe understand driving to the SkyTrain, but in a sense of like, you know, if say you were going to come visit me, I'll be like, Jill, you hang back. I'm going to take Justin. I'm going to take the long way so I can spend some more time shooting the shit with you.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Along the way. I wouldn't necessarily drag Jill along for the ride.
But once a month.
Yeah. Well, still, that's true.
Like that's if I come to visit you maybe twice a year, you know, but once a month is, and I'm staying the night. Like if I come to visit you once a month and then it's I'm hanging out for a couple hours, then you drive me back to the station and this and that. Like when I was in Chicago, that'd be one thing. But if I'm doing that once a month and I'm spending the night, I feel like that definitely changes.
That's a really good point. The frequency of this is annoying in a lot of ways. And I think you should be able to talk to your partner about this sort of stuff and just be like, hey, listen, I know you guys have been friends your whole lives, but this guy's gross. He's very gross. Right. He grosses me out. And also, after he stays here, like I am spending time cleaning up after him, and I don't enjoy doing that. This is not fun for me to have to do this.
Absolutely.
Can we please find a way to have him stop? Like, I just don't want to do this anymore. It's disgusting.
Right. I don't mind if he comes over and hangs out, but he has to go to his parents' house. Or if he comes here, there's ground rules. Like, no fucking socks on the kitchen table? The fuck is that about? That's weird to me.
Yeah, it is extremely weird.
Know?
Like,
I don't do it at my own house. Like my socks end up, if I take them off, they get tucked into like the slippers that I got next to me. So, like they're not just like strewn about. I do
think this was a weird one where she said he doesn't shower when he spends the night, which is kind of gross. Kind of, it depends. If you do smell, it's kind of gross. Yeah. Because he wears the same clothes his entire stay, even though they smell because he rides his bike everywhere or takes public transit.
That sounds a little elitist.
That sounds judgy to me. It's like,
it does,
ew,
yeah.
He took public transit. He smells.
He rides with the common folk.
He rides with the filthy ones, with the trained people.
Forever unclean.
I was like, if this guy is riding around his bike and he's sweaty and whatever, and he doesn't take a shower, and he's like sleeping in the bed.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because that's something else too, man. When people come and stay, it's like you got to get the guest room ready. You got to clean the sheets. You got to do all that sort of stuff. And if this guy
know it.
If this guy is as gross as she's letting on to be, then she has to fucking clean all that stuff again. Like, yeah, I feel like I don't think she's an asshole. Because she's an asshole. She's saying, am I asshole for telling my husband his best friend can't sleep over anymore? That would make you the asshole because you're demanding it without having a conversation.
Presuming that there was no conversation.
Exactly. Presuming there's no conversation. If you're just telling them they can't do this anymore, that's kind of a dick move. If this is really bothering you and you have not had that conversation with them, then I think you would be an asshole because I would imagine your partner would be like, what the fuck are you talking about? If they're absolutely clueless and they're like, no more. But if you're having ongoing regular conversations being like, this is starting to drive me crazy and I'm getting to the point where I don't want to do this anymore. And after this last one, it's just like, listen, he left his fucking socks on the table. He's leaving this stuff everywhere. I don't want to do this anymore. This is once a month. I don't want to house this guy anymore. Like, I think that's more reasonable. I wouldn't say she would be an asshole if that were the case.
No, I wouldn't even say you need ongoing conversations. I think if you bring it up, like it could be, like mention, like, hey, look, that he left the socks on the table again. This is really starting to bother me. And then at one point, if you're just like, I can't deal with him sleeping over anymore. Mm-hmm. I can't have him doing this anymore. Like I don't think it has to be ongoing. Even I think you just communicate it.
Right.
I do think Also, I'll say this too, with the caveat that, if the husband is not helping clean up after John leaves, then the husband's an asshole because
100%.
your friend is coming in and trashing your house and acting like your friend's acting like an asshole, So also, I'm just saying, what are you doing? Once a month, you got your guy come over and he stays overnight. Like, maybe it's time to grow up just a little bit,
Maybe. And also
hang out, that's fine. But like, you got to come in and drive him to the train, and we're gonna stay and watch movies. And like, God, come on.
I don't know. Let me ask you this: when you have guests coming over that are connected to you, do you feel more responsible for cleaning and prepping the house?
Yes, I feel it no matter what. Like, but that's the thing though. Is like I don't want to present a messy house.
Same.
I want my house to be at its best. That it's ever looked when someone comes over. Like,
agreed.
And I think Beth feels the same way. So like, we both feel that pressure regardless of whose connection is coming over,
But I'll say, like, say for example, if Jill's dad was going to come by, I'd be like, it's Jill's dad. Like, this place doesn't need to be perfect or whatever and whatever. And I don't know, like, but if like my brother's coming by or like, some other people, I'm like, I feel compelled just to be like, hey, this is my family coming over.
Sure.
I'm going to do the brunt of this. Absolutely help me.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's my responsibility to organize this because this is my responsibility because they are coming over and they're my family. And I have sort of organized this. I take ownership over it. So I didn't know if that was just me or I'm the same boat. Like we're both, I'm not going to be like, oh, it's your family. Have fun cleaning.
Right.
I'm going to help out. But I feel a more sense of ownership if it's like my guest, if that makes sense, that's coming over. I'm going to be like, let me take care of it.
Totally understand that. Yes. Yeah. I absolutely understand that. Yeah. I think I'm just anal in the sense that even if it's not my guest, I'm, and it could be because this is still a new thing for me. Mm-hmm. And so maybe it's just that shiny, maybe give me about a year or two in the house and maybe that'll change. Yeah. But yeah, I totally see what you're, I 100% see where you're coming.
My point being that if her husband,
absolutely,
you know what I mean? Like, cause she doesn't mention him cleaning or anything like that. She sounds like she's taking ownership of all of that. Which
after he stays, I usually have to spend an entire day cleaning because he makes such a big mess and gets
that's
so
bullshit.
Dirty.
That's absolute bullshit. So there definitely needs to. So assuming a couple things. One, conversation has been had. Hopefully multiple. When I say ongoing, I'm hoping that because that's a healthy way to do it. Like you're
bring it
talking
up more than once, right?
Saying like, "Hey, this is bothering me." When he was here, this was bothering me, and let's just keeping that communication open, letting him know this is not fun for me. So eventually, you can be like, "Hey, I'm kind of over this now. I don't want him to stay with us anymore. This is like, I'm at my limit. I don't want to do this. Or at least 100%. Have discussions. It's like, at the very least, can you clean up after he's gone? Right. Or can you do that? Or can you talk to him about leaving his dirty shit around our house? Like, it's disgusting. Yeah. It's gross. You know, like, can you help me out with that? Or at least have those sort of ways where it's like, be
a partner with me.
Right. I'm willing to bet if this guy changed that stuff, probably wouldn't be as bad, and over time it would level out and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. If this guy took care of himself, he cleaned himself, he didn't leave his dirty shit everywhere or whatever, and they kind of mitigated some of this, I'm willing to bet that would be okay. Yeah. But yeah, if none of this stuff changes, you know,
look, I'll even say the thing that I keep getting hung up on is the once a month house guest thing.
Yeah,
that's a lot of fucking time over there. That's a lot of time spent.
I am a hermit. We all know this. I'm self-described hermit, and the idea of a regular occurrence like that gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
Like even for my best friends, the idea of like they're gonna come spend the night once a month. I don't know. Maybe I would change. Like I thought if you come by once a month, I'm like, I don't think I'd mind that. If you came by once a month and whenever we hung out and played board games or whatever, I'm like, I don't think I'd have a problem with that. But I guess it depends. If it's someone coming by that you don't like, that's a different story, right? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. If every time they come by, they continue to rub you the wrong way, then that creates.
I've heard stories of like in-laws that just show up and hang out randomly in the middle of the day, like because they're in the neighborhood. I'm like, that sounds like a fucking nightmare. Like, and they don't go. They hang out there. I'm like, oh no. Yeah. No. This is my space. Go away.
Oh, no, thank you.
So I'll say, with those caveats in mind, I don't think this original poster is with Witty Cat. I don't think they're the asshole, assuming that when they say your best friend can't sleep here anymore, that they've had a conversation about it, and that this is not the first time he's heard about it. Sure. If you pull he should know how I feel. It's not going to fly here. That's bullshit. Right. That's weak Chris Cochran shit. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't be Chris Cochran.
If you're communicating on the regular in general with your partner, and you're finally like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't think you're the asshole.
There you go. It is decided. Witty Cat, 1996. You were not the asshole.
God damn it!
It's the closest one I had. Without repeating. So
I think there should be a hashtag DBCC. Don't be Chris Cochran.
Don't be Chris Cochran. Yes. Now we're
hashtag
talking.
DBCC.
Don't be Chris Cochran. You know what I'd love to do too is like really flesh out that character and give people a real taste of what it'd be like to be on the receiving end of a Chris Cochran situation.
Ooh, are we talking about like role playing here?
I want to be like, I want to flesh out, this thing. So it's like, let's create a scenario and be like, okay, do you know what a Chris Cochran scenario is like? Let's build one. Let me build one, and let me. That would be fun. All right, I want to put this in the idea bucket. Where I'm gonna build out a scenario.
Is it a one shot? Are you building a one shot?
A one shot. What we're gonna do on here, I'll be like, all right, here's the situation. And I'm gonna build out something based on real life, and I'm going to reenact it to the best of my ability, or at least I will play Chris Cochran and give you a taste, and let the listeners. If you all want to know what I'm talking about, like, let us know in the comments. Hit us up and let us know. Like, I want to know what a Chris Cochran experience is like, and I will use some great resources to come up with a scenario where we can role play this and see how it goes. And maybe, just maybe, we can give you all a real taste of what it's like to be on the receiving end of my mother.
Call it a CCE, Chris Cochran experience.
Welcome to dude, that's our residency in Las Vegas. That's it right there. The Chris Cochran experience. That's what it is.
People just leave crying.
They're just like, what's this about? It's like, welcome to the most annoying and or terrifying experiences on the Las Vegas Strip.
Do you want to see a show that defies logic?
Voted most need of therapy after experiencing, Voted most therapeutic in the wrong way.
They're doing those after show interviews, and they're just like, so what'd you think? And they're like, this was such an unnecessary show to have happen. I didn't feel good about it at all.
Like, I didn't realize that Doug's mom had the same mom as me. Like, that's crazy. I guess it's kind of refreshing to know that we have the same mom.
We have the same. Wow. Oh my gosh.
Anyway, Justin, what do you have to recommend this week?
Day late and a dollar short. I am going to recommend the Super Mario Brothers.
I need to preface something. I need you all to know this. Last week, Justin tried to delete this off of his fucking list.
It's been on here for so long.
And I put it back on there because it's like, how fucking dare you? How fucking dare you have something on here and then you delete it? Yeah, there's no shame.
This is my list.
There's no shame. You just didn't get to it in time. So fucking put it on there and say it with pride. So Justin, continue.
Super Mario Brothers movie, talking about the one from the 90s, 93. That is such a fun movie, and I think everyone should see it. And John Leguizamo and Dennis Hopper. Nope, Dennis. Is it Dennis Hopper?
It's Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, that's the one. Man, just all in all, top to bottom, award-winning movie.
T to B, baby.
T to B. No, the animated film, obviously. I thought it was a really fun time. I didn't have you and I were kind of when it originally came out. We saw the trailer and everything. You and I were a little concerned of like, I don't know how they're gonna tie in video game logic to what they're considering real world logic, and it just didn't. And then Chris Pratt's, what's the voiceover going to be like? Da 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 da. And they addressed all of it, and they did it in a very fun way. Definitely think it was
90 minutes. It
was a real tight 90 minutes, and a lot of it's fun for the kids. And if you grew up playing it, there's a lot of Easter eggs in there. You're like, oh fuck yeah, I remember that. That's so cool. And they referenced Smash Brothers. They referenced the original Mario. They referenced they went across the gamut. So. Mario Kart, it's all in there. So yeah, do yourself a favor. If you're a nerd, you like Mario, go check out that movie. Doug, what do you got?
And to play a hag real quick, go in with low expectations because the story pretty shallow, but it's just fun. It's just a fun time. Yep. Like it's for kids. It's absolutely made for kids.
Yes, 100%. Yes.
It's like parents. While you're here, we'll give you some shout outs while we're here. So
bingo.
Yeah.
Dougie, what do you got?
I'm gonna suggest this again. I suggested this long ago when I watched this, but I just rewatched this. It's fucking amazing. It's a limited series on Netflix called Midnight Mass. It's perfect for the Halloween season. It's got real Stephen King vibes. It's about this small island off the coast of New England. And it is a mystery. It's a thriller. And it has some incredible, the acting in it is just absolutely phenomenal. Like it's so good. And I don't want to say much more about it other than it's a big mystery. It deals a lot with religion. And it's a wonderful just look at it from the kind of the synopsis. There's the character named Riley who basically lives in Chicago, gets hammered and kills a young girl and drunk driving. And he ends up going to jail and he comes back to his hometown on Crockett Island and he's dealing with this giant baggage of him having committed this horrible crime, and his family in this community is insanely religious and he's essentially trying to navigate all that. And there's also something very mysterious going on in this town as their former priest, Monsignor Pruitt, has been gone, and then a new young priest comes in to take his place in the interim. And strange things are afoot, and it's fucking phenomenal. It's really well done, and the acting, I can't stress it enough, is it's excellent, and they do such a good job with it. Just rewatched it. I've been meaning to rewatch it again, and I'm like, God damn it, this show is so good, so fucking good. So check it out. It's on Netflix. I think it's 7 episodes. Each episode's maybe a little bit more longer than an hour, so it's not too crazy. But man, it just reinvigorated me again of like, man, I want to tell a story. Because this is how you tell a fucking story. It's so goddamn good.
Cool. I love that. Fucking love it.
Check that shit out, y'all. And check us out, youtube.com/mindgappodcast. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Check our description for links to our Discord, for links to our merch at Redbubble, for links to our Patreon, patreon.com/mindgappodcast. Also, as a quick shout out, I will be doing a video game stream this Friday with the Mind Gap crew. We're going to be getting into Jackbox Party Pack 10. I'm excited.
Woo woo!
A whole new slew of games. I've tried out 2 of them on my own. They were phenomenal. Looking forward to getting down and nasty with the community. And also, if you've never played Jackbox before, they're basically party games, and you can join along and play with us, which is super cool. So be sure to check that. That's 8 p.m. Central Time this Friday, November the 3rd.
When you're watching this, probably.
Yes, November
tonight.
the 3rd. So Exactly. So when this launches tonight, November 3rd, 8 p.m. Central Time, come hang out with us. It's going to be a real blast.
I would strongly recommend doing that because if you've ever wondered about what it's like to hang out with the crew, these are the jackpot games are the ones. This is the one that I wish I could make, but I've got family coming into town. I've got overnight guests who I'm going to make them shower. And so I can't make it, but I would make this one. I want so badly to make this one. So
it's gonna be
go in my stead and make it, just have fun. It's going to be a fucking great night. I'm so jealous. Yeah.
And also check us out on our social media at MindGap Podcast and check out Justin as well.
Instagram, it's at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it while you're in the online realm. Any place where you can find and consume podcasts, you can find us. Go ahead and subscribe, rate, review, all those things. The big one is sharing. Let people know that we exist. It's the only way that we continue on. And then TwoEastEighth.com, TwoEastEighth on all social media, loveandimprovfilm.com, loveandimprovfilm on Instagram.
Booyakasha. With that, gang, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Justin, thank you.
Douglas, thank you.
Listeners and viewers, thank you. Have a dandy fucking week and happy fucking belated Halloween, I guess. Boo.